As we grow older, our priorities shift. The noise that once filled our lives fades into the background, and in its place, we begin to crave something deeper: peace, genuine connections, and meaningful moments. We realize that time isn't just passing, it's precious. Every minute matters, and where we choose to spend it, even more so. Yet, despite this wisdom, many people make a simple mistake. They visit places, not because they want to, but out of habit, guilt, or a sense of obligation. It's easy to say yes to every invitation when your calendar's open, but just because you're free doesn't mean your time is. Your time holds value. Your presence is a gift, and not every home deserves it. In today's message, we'll uncover the homes you should avoid visiting, no matter how available you are. Not because you're unkind, but because your peace, your happiness, and your emotional well-being matter more than any social expectation. These aren't just houses, they're spaces that can either nourish your soul or quietly drain it. So let's talk about the four types of people's homes you should never visit when you get older. Your time is sacred. Let's treat it that way. As we age, we often carry invisible weights, unspoken obligations, old habits, and the lingering pressure to maintain relationships that no longer serve us. Many people, especially in their later years, continue visiting homes where they don't feel truly welcome. They sit through awkward conversations, endure environments filled with tension, and leave feeling more drained than fulfilled, all because they feel it's the right thing to do. But here's the truth. Every visit to a place that steals your peace is a withdrawal from your emotional bank. It's a silent cost you pay with your energy, your joy, and sometimes even your self-esteem. And the most painful part? You may not even realize it's happening until the damage is done. The older you get, the more precious your time becomes. Not because you're running out of it, but because you finally understand its value. You've earned the right to choose peace over politeness, self-respect over social pressure, and meaningful connections over empty obligations. Today, we're not just talking about where you go, we're talking about what you allow into your life. Because protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's essential. 1. The home where you're only tolerated, not celebrated. 300 words. Have you ever walked into someone's home and felt it immediately? The smiles are forced, the greetings are hollow, and the conversations are nothing more than polite formalities. It's like walking into a room where the warmth is missing, even if the heater's on. You're not really welcomed. You're just tolerated. Maybe it's a family member who feels obligated to invite you, but checks their phone more than they make eye contact. Or a friend who hosts you out of habit, not because they genuinely enjoy your company. The signs are subtle: quick glances at the clock, distracted nods during conversations, or even the absence of meaningful dialogue. You leave feeling like you were an afterthought, not a valued guest. Here's the truth. Your time and presence are precious. You've lived through decades of experiences, lessons, and growth. You deserve to be around people who light up when they see you, who engage with you because they want to, not because they feel they have to. Life is too short to sit on couches where your presence feels like a burden. Stop visiting places where you're only tolerated. Spend your time where you're celebrated, where your laughter is cherished, and where your spirit feels at home. 2. The home filled with drama and negativity. 300 words. You know the kind of place I'm talking about. The moment you step inside, the air feels heavy, not because of the weather, but because of the tension lingering in every corner. Voices are raised, conversations are filled with complaints, and gossip flows more freely than kindness. Drama doesn't just live there, it thrives. Perhaps it's a relative's home where family feuds never end, or a friend's house where every topic turns into an argument. You sit there sipping your tea, pretending to listen, but inside you feel drained, your mind weighed down by problems that aren't even yours. You didn't come for this, yet you leave carrying the emotional baggage of others. Here's something to remember. As you grow older, your peace of mind becomes your most valuable asset. Protect it fiercely. You've dealt with enough chaos in life. You don't need to invite more into your heart just because you're too polite to say no. You don't owe anyone your presence if it comes at the cost of your peace. A home should be a refuge, not a battlefield. Choose environments that uplift you, not spaces that turn your calm into chaos. Your mental well-being isn't negotiable. 3, the home where you're only needed, not valued, 300 words. Have you ever received an invitation that felt more like a request? Not because someone missed you, but because they needed something from you. Maybe it's a relative who only calls when they need a favor, help with the kids, assistance with errands, or even financial support. When you arrive, it's clear you're not there for your company, you're there for your usefulness. These relationships are easy to spot once you pay attention. Notice how the calls come in when there's a problem, but disappear when things are fine. Notice how the smiles fade as soon as the favor's done, and how the warmth feels conditional, based on what you can provide, not who you are. Here's the hard truth. You're not a convenience. You're not a resource to be tapped into when needed and forgotten when not. Your time, your presence, and your kindness are valuable, and they should be appreciated, not exploited. As you age, you deserve relationships rooted in mutual respect, care, and genuine connection, not transactions disguised as affection. It's okay to help those you love, but it's not okay to be used under the pretense of love. You've given enough in your life. Now it's time to surround yourself with people who see your worth beyond what you can do for them. Remember, your presence is a gift. Give it to those who value you, not just those who need you. The home that feels emotionally heavy. Have you ever walked into a place and felt an invisible weight settle over you? The walls might be filled with photos and the rooms with people, but there's an emptiness in the air, a heaviness that's hard to explain. Maybe it's the unspoken tension, the cold silences, or the lingering resentment hidden behind polite words. Whatever it is, you leave feeling more drained than when you arrived. These homes aren't always loud with arguments or filled with obvious negativity. Sometimes it's the absence of warmth, the lack of genuine connection, or the subtle feeling that you don't truly belong. You sit quietly, trying to fit in, but inside your heart feels restless. It's not the decor or the setting, it's the energy, the unspoken truths, and the emotional undercurrents that weigh you down. Here's what you need to understand. You don't need a reason to protect your peace. You don't have to justify why certain spaces make you feel uneasy. Your emotional well-being matters, and you have the right to choose environments that nourish your soul instead of draining it. As you grow older, your time becomes too valuable to spend in places that feel heavy on your heart. Surround yourself with people and spaces that feel light, warm, and genuine. Walk away from what weighs you down, even if you can't fully explain why. Your peace doesn't need permission, it just needs your protection. With age comes wisdom, the wisdom to recognize that not every door deserves to be knocked on, not every invitation deserves to be accepted, and not every relationship deserves to be maintained. Time teaches us that it's not just about where we go, but how we feel when we're there. Some places drain us, not because of what's said, but because of what's missing. Respect, warmth, and genuine connection. You've spent years giving your time, energy, and love to others. Now it's time to give some of that back to yourself. Think about this. Every visit to a place that feels heavy steals a little bit of your joy. Every conversation that lacks authenticity chips away at your peace. And every moment spent where you're not valued is a moment you could have spent in the company of those who truly cherish you. You don't owe anyone your presence out of guilt, obligation, or habit. Your time is your own, and you have the right to protect it fiercely. Let go of places that no longer feel like home, even if they once did. Let go of relationships that no longer bring you comfort, even if they once mattered deeply. This isn't about holding grudges, it's about holding space for yourself. In the end, your greatest responsibility is to your own peace. And peace isn't found in places that drain you, it's found in places that feel like sunshine for your soul. Choose wisely. Choose peace. As you grow older, life quietly teaches you lessons you never knew you needed. It's not just about the experiences you gain, but the realizations that come with time. Realizations about people, places, and the priceless value of peace. One of the most profound lessons is this. Not every door deserves to be opened, not every relationship deserves to be nurtured, and not every invitation deserves your yes. When you were younger, perhaps you felt obligated to maintain connections, to visit homes where you didn't feel truly welcome, to sit through conversations that drained your spirit, and to keep relationships alive simply because of history. But as the years pass, you begin to understand that life isn't about quantity, it's about quality. Quality of time, quality of relationships, and most importantly, the quality of your inner peace. Imagine this. Every moment you spend in a space that feels heavy, every conversation that leaves you feeling smaller, and every visit where your presence is merely tolerated, not celebrated, is a withdrawal from your emotional bank account. You may not see the balance dropping immediately, but over time, you'll feel the emptiness, the exhaustion, the quiet ache of having given too much to places that gave you nothing in return. So what do you do with this realization? You reclaim your power. You take back your time. You start making choices not based on guilt or obligation, but based on what feels right in your heart. Letting go without guilt. Walking away isn't always easy. There's a voice inside that whispers, but you've known them for years, or it's family. You can't just stop visiting. But here's the truth. Letting go doesn't mean you're heartless. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to choose peace over pretense. It means you've realized that relationships built on guilt aren't relationships. They're emotional transactions. When you decide to stop visiting a home where you're only needed, not valued, it's not an act of cruelty. It's an act of self-respect. When you choose not to return to a place filled with negativity and drama, it's not because you're selfish. It's because you've learned to protect your mental and emotional well-being. Think of it this way. Would you willingly sit in a room filled with smoke if you knew it was harmful to your health? So why do we willingly place ourselves in environments that are toxic to our hearts and minds? The damage may not be visible, but it's there, quietly eating away at your joy, your confidence, your peace, the freedom to choose yourself. Here's the beauty of aging. It grants you the freedom to choose, the freedom to say no without explanation, the freedom to prioritize your own well-being without apology, the freedom to walk away from people and places that no longer align with who you've become. You've earned this freedom. Through years of lessons, heartaches, and growth, you've arrived at a place where you no longer need to prove your worth to anyone. Your value isn't determined by how many relationships you maintain or how many invitations you accept. Your value is intrinsic, woven into the very fabric of who you are. So choose wisely. Choose people who light up when they see you, who listen with their hearts, not just their ears. Choose environments that feel like a warm embrace, not a cold obligation. Choose conversations that nourish your soul, not ones that leave you questioning your worth. The gift of peace. Peace isn't something you stumble upon by accident. It's something you cultivate, protect, and cherish. It's found in the quiet moments, sitting by a window with a cup of tea, surrounded by silence that feels comforting, not lonely. It's found in the laughter shared with someone who truly sees you. It's found in the gentle realization that you no longer need to chase validation because you've already found it within yourself. And here's the most beautiful part. Peace isn't dependent on anyone else. It's not tied to who visits you, who calls, or who invites you into their home. Peace is an inside job. It lives within you, and the more you nurture it, the less space you have for anything or anyone that disturbs it. Imagine waking up each day without the dread of facing people who drain you. Imagine filling your calendar with things that genuinely bring you joy, whether it's a walk in the park, a chat with a friend who uplifts you, or simply enjoying your own company. That's what peace feels like. It's light, effortless, and deeply fulfilling. Creating your circle of comfort. As you let go of spaces and people that no longer serve you, you create room for something even more beautiful, a circle of comfort. This circle isn't about how many people are in it. It's about who's in it. It's about quality over quantity. Maybe your circle includes a lifelong friend who always makes you laugh, or a neighbor who checks in on you with genuine concern. Maybe it's a niece or nephew who visits not out of obligation, but because they truly enjoy your company. Or maybe it's just you, and that's perfectly okay. Your circle of comfort doesn't have to be big to be meaningful. It just has to be real. And when you find those connections, those people who feel like home, you'll realize how little you miss the places and people you walked away from. Final words of wisdom. So as you move forward, remember this. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Your presence is a gift. Don't give it to people who treat it like a favor. Your time is precious. Don't waste it in places that drain your soul. Your heart deserves to be held with care. Don't place it in the hands of those who don't cherish it. Life isn't about holding on to everything. It's about knowing what to let go of. And sometimes the greatest act of love you can show yourself is to walk away. Not with bitterness, but with grace. Not with anger, but with peace. You've spent a lifetime caring for others. Now it's time to care for yourself. Choose joy, choose peace, choose you. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who might need to hear it today. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more heartfelt reflections on living with dignity, purpose, and peace in your later years. Thank you for being here, and may you always find the courage to choose what's best for your heart.